Hi y'all, it's Jamie from Dig It Homesteading, and today we are going to work on clearing out my freezer a little bit. So I have a bag. Of the peaches that I thinned off our tree this spring. And I'm really glad I saved them because someone, probably with paws, ended up stealing all our peaches. So I wanted to take this product, which these still tasted really good, and use it to practice to make something with peaches today. And then I also found some tomatoes from last year's garden. I have like a couple bags here from last year's garden that I need something to do with. We need to do something with those tomatoes as well to make more room in our freezer, and then to have more things shelf stable as well. So we'll figure out what we're doing in just a minute. To start, I've got a pot of water boiling, and look y'all, got some jars ready. Those are half pints because I think we're going to use that for the peaches today. You know what, I changed my mind. I had some quarter pints, a whole flat of them in the back. We might put that in there, because you know when you open your preserved things, it doesn't last as long as store-bought things in the fridge. So I think this item would do better in a smaller jar for us. So for us, I'm doing smaller quarter pint, but your family might need a pint. So you always can your product in the size that your family needs it. I just hand washed some of those half pints. I'm gonna just set them over out of the way and let them air dry, and then I'm going to wash these quarter pints, and then my boiling water is going to sanitize them, but we're gonna do that in a little bit. Okay, to start, I'm just gonna throw all these tomatoes in this crock pot. I'm hoping they'll all fit because I don't want to take out my big roaster. Might add some now and then get it going. And these are skin on, but I did put an X on them so they would peel easy. I don't know if I'm gonna bother peeling them. Up to you if you do it or not. We're just going to get this simmering down on low. Okay, those are going to sit back there and get going with nothing added to them for the moment. And then that way it can be working while we're doing this other stuff. And I'll decide along the way. I don't know if I'm just going to maybe pick out the skins along the way, make a sauce. I don't really know yet. Let me know what your favorite thing is to do with tomatoes. I just know I want them defrosting and working while I do this other project. Alright, to get going, we have our water boiling, and then I have this bowl of ice water and something to dunk the peaches with. So we are just going to blanch these peaches a few at a time as I can break them apart. And they're small, but otherwise they would have just gone to waste, and I'm sure that I'm not going to get very much fruit because you know how big a pit is. But we're going to see if we can get the skins off and get enough flesh to make a batch of peach jam. They just set them in there, let them go for, I don't know, 20-30 seconds, just enough to get the skins to start softening up, and then you want to stick them straight in the ice water. Just want to let y'all know, I have no idea how this is going to work because this is our first year having peaches, and as I said, our peaches got stolen, the lovely big ones. So I figured why not play around and see if we could use the thinned ones. For one thing, that would be awesome if we could actually have like 2 harvests, because the tree's so little, I wouldn't want it. I feel like the next few years it's going to need to be thinned, and heck, it might always need to be thinned. I don't know, I'm no peach tree expert. but I wanted to try to use what was provided from that tree and see if we can get an actually good tasting product. So I have no idea how this is going to work out, but I appreciate you joining along with me. And if you like testing out things and seeing if they work and not wasting stuff, then hit subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that. So when bags of fruit are like frozen together like that, I just drop them on the floor, make sure they're zipped good, and they just kind of come apart. But I wanted to show you, once you do that, it just peels straight off. So it takes all the effort out of doing your peaches. So this should go a lot quicker now. Got my helper over there helping me peel peaches. Now I'm going to change out this water and get it brought to a boil so I can get my jars and lids sanitized. I have no idea how many of these are going to fit in here. I'm thinking we'll get as many as we can to fit in there, and then we'll go from there. If I have to do another batch, then so be it. Okay, so here's where we at. We got all of them peeled, and it is recommended that you put like an X, a score, an X at the bottom of them. But since these were so small, I wasn't even gonna bother. I literally picked them off the tree, washed them, and threw them in the bag and froze them, and then did this. And I did not find that to be a problem. Just make sure you blanch them for the 30 seconds, because some at the end dropped my temperature of my water and they were a little harder to peel. Anyway, I got a pot full of these and I have not taken the pits out. I figured as they cook, I could go away, kitty cat, as they cook, that I can pick out the pits. We don't know how that's going to work, so I'm going to just get this started on a low temp. All of these are now nice and sanitized, so they will stay in this warm water while I do this. And I'm going to let this come up to temperature with no water or anything like that, and let it cook for just a little while until I can pull out the pits, and we'll check in just a bit. Alright, so these have been going a little while, and the flesh is starting to come off the pits, so this might work. If not, I might just stick it through a colander. Oh, it's hot. But we're going to get them out somehow without having to stand here and try to pick all of that little bit of meat off the pit. I think I'll try this handy dandy meat masher to see if I can get them coming off even quicker. To maybe make our lives a little bit simpler. But we'll find out as we go. Okay, so what I am finding to be the absolute easiest is I take about that much and then I just kind of fill through with my knife, and if I don't feel any pit, then I just scoop it off, and then I just try to scrape off as much of this as I can off the pit. Some come off more cleanly than others, which I kind of expected, and I don't know if this is a quicker way or a way to keep more fruit on it or anything like that, because I have nothing to compare it to. So if you know if I'm taking the harder way or the easier way, please let me know. Okay, so I'm at the end of it, and I really think it got quite a bit off. The end of the spoon would kind of let some of the flesh fall down, and then I could pull the pit back and it would help separate it as well. And I got the majority off of it. This is the peels and the pits, and you can make a fruit vinegar with this stuff that's left over, but the chickens are getting this today. Maybe next year, if we don't get robbed by nature, we'll have more of a harvest, and then I'll be more inclined to make that vinegar. So let me know if you're interested in learning about that. And with 1 gallon of peaches that were thinned off our tree, we have gotten almost exactly what we need for this recipe. I don't know how. This recipe needs 4.5 cups of peaches, and that's right at 4. So this must be meant to be. So let's get carried on. We are going to use Sure Gel Low Sugar. It's low sugar. There's still a ton of sugar in it, but it's lower than the other box. I think it's a yellow one. So we use the pink. And I'm just following in here for the cooked jam recipe. It comes with instructions. I was looking at the preserve recipes online, but I figured I'd go ahead and go with this since I've never done anything with the peaches before. And we'll try to do something that's more tried and true. So for peaches, you need 4 pounds of peaches, 1 lemon. You need it peeled, pitted, and finely chopped. We have that. And then 3 cups of sugar. And your lemon will equal out to 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. You can also add a little bit of butter to help with the foaming. And we're gonna try to get this done. My other stainless steel pot, that's the big one, is the one I'd usually use, but it is otherwise occupied. So we're going to very carefully try to make this batch in this pot. I don't know the quart size, but size comparison, I don't recommend it because sugar boiling over is going to leave a mess. So I'm just going to wing it today and see what happens. We're going to need 3 cups of sugar, and that's definitely not 3 cups. So let me go fill this up from the back. Well, it looks like the last time somebody filled that up, they didn't add my sugar to the order. But thankfully, I always keep backups of other things. So this, which is pure cane sugar that I just kept on the shelf in case of a situation just like that, will come in handy and help us out now. Alright, so we're going to add our 4 cups of peaches that we wouldn't have had at all. And I'm really glad we get to at least try something. And we need 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, which this is not. It's jarred lime juice. You're not supposed to substitute things in your canning recipes, so if you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. And like I said, I've never done this recipe before, but this is what I have on hand. So this is what I'm going to use, and we'll find out what happens later on. So make sure you subscribe because I will update you if this is a complete fail. First, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of water into there to fill in for our 4.5 cups of peaches or juice that we need for this recipe. So we shall see, but I want all my amounts to be right for this, so at least I know it won't be that if something goes terribly wrong. Okay, so now we need to measure the exact amount of sugar we're going to need into a separate bowl, and we need 3 cups, and I'm using a 1/2 cup measurer because this bag's little. Okay, so I'm really trying to remember to do this step right because the last time I made a jelly, I literally just measured it all out into the pot and then followed the instructions and didn't realize until I was almost done and thought I've just ruined it all, but somehow it's set. So don't be like me and follow your instructions. Okay, so now we're going to take 1/4 of this sugar, 1/4 of a cup of this sugar, and put it into a separate bowl that we already measured. This is not an additional 1/4 cup of sugar. And then we're going to add our pectin into this. Give it a nice little stir. Okay, next we're going to add this and our half a teaspoon. Let me make sure. Yeah, half a teaspoon of butter. Like that measurement. To that, and that will help reduce the foam on the jams, jellies, preserves, etc. It is not required. And now we're going to bring this mixture up to a boil, a rapid boil, which means you can't stir the boil away. Even if you're stirring, your bubbles stay going. So we'll reach that point and come back. So I've been thinking about the tomatoes, and I'm kind of thinking of turning them into some sort of sauce. That's just, maybe I'll add onions and garlic. I don't really know. I don't even know if it's going to be added in this video. But I'm hoping we can get it all done where it can be a part of this video, because I was robbed on tomatoes too. So this year, I think I've gotten like one cherry tomato out of all the plants we planted out. Sister's chickens have annihilated them, and I've heard chickens aren't supposed to eat tomatoes. And last year I could find them when they were blushing and then take them in. This year, not a one has got in this house. So we're gonna have to really get something sorted for those chickens, because that makes gardening even harder, having everybody rob my garden. This morning I got up and went out and checked, and I have some winged beans growing right now, and I noticed a couple of them had the leaves and the tops missing. Yeah, there was a chicken and a rooster in there eating them, so I don't know if we're gonna get any winged beans. So y'all, if you're struggling with gardening but you don't have chickens to fight, feel blessed. You do want to make sure you stir this constantly, because you don't want any of it to burn to the bottom. And you see how sometimes I'll get some bubbles, but when I stir it goes away, so that means it's not quite ready yet. Okay, so do not walk away, because this comes up quick. See how none of it's stopping the boil. So this is when you add in your sugar and you stir it all in, and then you're going to bring it all to a boil for 1 minute exactly. And this is the part I'm worried about, because I do not want this to boil over and make a gigantic mess all over the stove. Okay, so see how the boil has went away? So we're going to let it come back up to a boil, continue mixing it in. And once it comes back to a boil, we're going to set our timer for 1 minute. Okay, it's back up to a boil, so I am going to set a timer for 1 minute and continue stirring and just let it boil away. And we are almost done. This is definitely the quickest part of the whole thing, unless you have prepared fruits. Like, I'm sure you could get some out of the freezer section and do this if you don't have a peach tree or local farmers or whatever you like. But if you like jams and jellies and you're interested in starting canning, this is a very easy way to do it. The first thing I think I ever canned was fig preserves. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And I took a break from it for a while, but I've really been into it the last few years, seeing just how much I can actually learn to can. So give it a try. Okay, turn off your heat. Take it off the heat. If you have a bunch of foam, woohoo, If you have a bunch of foam, you can skim it, but that butter did its job, and I hardly have any foam. So we're going to leave that right there and start jarring these up. I have just had this pot on another burner, just on a very low warm temp, just to keep these jars warm, so we don't put any hot filling into cold jars. That's a good way to shatter your jars. And these are teeny tiny, so I'm going to have to be really careful. We want to leave 1/4 inch headspace. Let's see how hot this is. Okay. Warm enough, but not too hot. Okay, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 1/4 pints done, and I still have this much left. So I'm gonna see, this is not a sanitized jar, so I'm gonna see if I can get a jar filled that's this size, and then we'll put it in the fridge, and maybe the family and I can try it out tomorrow and see if we like it or not. It's definitely pretty, and it definitely smells really good. So we shall see. Tiny little bit. And then I'm going to go through and check the headspace on all of these and kind of spoon in just a little bit more here and there to make sure I have a 1/4 inch headspace. This is awesome. I can already see this is starting to set. Look at the spoon. So it's definitely gonna set, and there are ways to test it if you're super nervous about it. You can put a little bit on a plate in the freezer for like a minute and then take it out and hold the plate sideways to see if it'll set, but I have not had anything so far with this pectin not set. Absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna taste it. Mmm. That is really good. Neener, neener, I got to try it. Are you jealous? Do we need to, I don't know if we'll have time to bake a fresh loaf of bread, but do we need to get a loaf of bread for tomorrow?
Yeah.
To test this out? Okay, so we're just going to go through and wipe our rings, our rims, check for cracks, get all this mucky stuff off, because that sugar will absolutely stop your lids from sealing. And then we're going to put our new lids and our rings on all of these, just finger tight, which I don't know if I did, finger tight, and then we're going to process these as well. I'm just using a reused lid to put on here. Anything that's not getting processed to go on the shelf, I just reuse the lids as long as they look decent. And then I'll let this cool and stick it in the fridge for tomorrow. Okay, so we are going to use this CAREY digital canner because if you've been with me for a while, my stovetop is cracked, so I am still waiting on what we're going to do for that. So we're going to water bath can these, and I'm hoping that I can double stack them and still have enough water above it to just water bath them all at the same time. And I figured I'd use this little insert that it came with to stack in between them. The tomatoes are looking okay over here in this dark corner. They're all starting to melt. There's liquid all the way up to here. And we'll check back in on them later. So let's start stacking them in here. Stack them in, and then we'll add the water to get the right amount of water. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 comfortably fits there, so that will leave one more just to sit on top up here. So we'll have to see how that works. Now we're going to fill this up, and there's definitely going to be enough room to have 1 or 2 inches above it. So the machine says fill the water until all the jars are completely covered. The recipe says 1 to 2 inches. So I've got it about 3/4 of an inch higher. I could go a little higher, but I think it'd be alright. I don't really like wasting this much water. I am thinking about looking into steam canners. So let me know if you like those and use those, because I've seen that they use way less water. So I'm going to just get these going. We're going to water bath these in this machine for 10 minutes, and I'll show you what they look like coming out. Alright, so let's look and see what they look like coming out of the canner. And I don't have a good space here, but I like this to be here so I can turn my microwave vent on and all the steam can get sucked up out of the house and not heat up my house. Oop! And it just sealed right when we pulled it out. So that is a very peachy, orangey peach jam, and it's going to be liquidy because that has been super hot in there. But we saw it was setting already, so we are not going to stress. Okay, so I'm very happy with that, and we will do a taste test with the family tomorrow with some bread. So basically, out of a fruit that I would have just chucked to the chickens or not worried about, we're actually getting a product out of, so I'm super excited about that. We're horrible about leaving these cabinets open, so y'all cabinet door freaks, don't watch, don't look. I know they're always open, but anyway, hubby and daughter just went to Dollar Tree and they found something. Look. Oh, I love the sugar skull stuff. Just in time. And they found 3 different ones. Yeah, show them. Oh, it's so cute. We have like a family of them now. Except it's got glitter on them, y'all. I hate glitter. It always gets in my eyes. But anyway, hopefully these tomatoes will be okay, and we'll figure out what to do with them tomorrow, because now it's time to hang out with my family and have some dinner. And those tomatoes are only just going to reduce down in more flavor the longer I let them sit, and they have not even been in there for 8 hours. So I'll get back to you. Okay, so it's been a long, hard day at work and school for everybody, and we are ready to try. Look, y'all. I mean, that's about as set can be. Peach jam. I don't think I've ever even had it. Has anybody had it?
No.
Are you excited?
That's good.
Yes. This is not homemade bread, y'all.
Looks like marmalade.
It does look like marmalade. Look.
What's that?
That's like an orange preserve type thing.
Did your bread get cold in the fridge? Y'all, we went to the Cheesecake Factory for the first time yesterday, so we grabbed some extra bread and took it home with us so we could try it. I think it got a little hard in the fridge.
I like
Nothing wrong with that. That's good.
You like it?
I mean, if you bought that from the store, you think that's nothing wrong, nothing different.
I know, right?
Guess what I'm having for dessert tonight?
Your
Chocolate
face? Have you been eating your leftover cheesecake, sister?
No, it's on my bread.
It's all over your face now.
That's good.
Well, thanks for bringing the bread home so we could try it, so everybody approves. We'll have to see if he likes it too.
That's so hard.
Put some more stuff on it. Well, I'm glad this is a win and everybody approves. So how about the fact that we didn't get any actual peach harvest, but yet we have
At least we know for next year.
this lovely product
From
from
the
the
throwaways.
It is very
from all
good.
the things people had just chucked away. Waste not, want not, right?
It's so hard. I
What's
can't
weird
bite
is that
this.
they really want
Be
that.
careful with your braces.
They want that peachy.
They were peachy, they weren't sweet.
Yeah, and they weren't very strong tasting either. This tastes just normal.
Tastes like peach.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy and impressed. And y'all, we need to go take a look at the tomatoes back there now. Y'all are so weird. So, I may have forgot that I had tomatoes going. And then we had a very long day in Houston yesterday. So, this is what our tomatoes look like now. And I don't know if there's any saving them, y'all. I don't know. They are not red anymore. The top of them is like almost green, and none of them were green tomatoes that I put in here. So I might put this through the blender and taste it. Let me smell.
That's red.
So I don't know if they're burnt or scorched or what. So I'll put them in the blender and I'll taste it, and then I'll go from there. But I really think this is going to be a loss. My goodness, y'all are just tearing into that jam, ain't you? Well, that's good to see. So if anything great comes of this, I'll make sure and update you. But that's where we're at now. Okay, so since y'all are shoveling y'all's faces in with all the bread and jam, are we gonna have a problem needing some bread?
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Hopefully not.
Well, I guarantee you we need to either make it tonight or tomorrow, because we might not have power Wednesday and Thursday, because we are also preparing to be hit by, I think it's a tropical storm right now, predicted to be up to a 2 or 3 hurricane. What's it named?
Francine.
Francine is on her way to visit us, so we need to do our preparations to have a visitor come for a while. And that's just kind of the norm where we are. We have hurricanes come through quite often, so we're gonna go take care of things that we need to take care of. Maybe bake a loaf of bread. Bye. And take care of our family. So I hope your family stays safe if y'all are in the path of the storm as well. And stay safe out there. And until the next one, love y'all, bye-bye.